Last month was the warmest June on record and another sign of global warming. In fact, to find the last month with a below average global temperature, you have to go back 25 years. But a Victoria journalist and author says that information is not entirely accurate. Here's A News reporter Stephen Andrew with more.
You know, it's hard to imagine, but if you look out the window, and according to a new book published this week, we are in the middle of an ice age. In his book, False Alarm, Global Warming, Fact versus Fears, Paul Macrae compiles a compelling argument that everything we've been told about global warming is either misleading, exaggerated, or just plain wrong. And Paul joins us now to talk about his book. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
Are you crazy? I mean, if you look behind you outside the door, the sun is shining. I don't see glaciers creeping down Pandora Street, but yet you say we're in the middle of an ice age.
Well, I thought I was crazy a few days ago when it was 31 degrees. Here's the story. For the last 2 million years, the planet's been in an ice age. In other words, for about 80% of the time, we've been in a glaciation situation. And that means that where you and I are sitting right now here in Victoria, there was something like 2 miles of ice above us. And then for short periods of time, relatively speaking, maybe 10 or 20,000 years, we're lucky enough to have a warm spell. And we're currently in a warm spell in the middle of a 2 million year ice age. It's the coldest the planet has been since the last major ice age 250 million years ago.
But as you point out in your book, all of the climatologists, or I say majority of the climatologists, are saying, look, carbon dioxide is seeping into the air and the planet is warming.
Well, in previous interglacials, the planet has also warmed. The one just before ours, 125,000 years ago, the temperatures were 1 to 3 degrees Celsius higher than they are now. And I'm not the one that's saying that. It's the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is the official kind of the body that you're talking about, the people that speaks for the climatologists you're talking about. The sea levels in the last interglacial were 15 to 20 feet higher than today. So in other words, we can expect that in our interglacial, it's very likely that we will get another 1 to 3 degrees of warming no matter what. And the sea levels are going to go up perhaps 20 feet, perhaps more, no matter what we do.
In your book, though, you also point to charts that say, really, basically, in the past few years, we have really been through a cooling stage rather than a warming stage, which the scientists have been kind of telling us the opposite.
Well, we've been told for the last decade that the planet's warming, that it's accelerating, it's dangerous, and we haven't had warming on average for since about 1998.
So, Paul, how is this really basically going unnoticed? I mean, is yours the first book to say, hey, the climatologists are wrong?
No. No. But I think I'm probably the first Canadian, apart from maybe Lawrence Solomon, to write a book on this. There's a few others, but maybe the first Canadian journalist to actually investigate this question and have a look at it.
Now, your credentials are long. I mean, you've Canadian Press, Globe and Mail, Victoria Times columnist, writer.
Bangkok Post.
Bangkok Post. I mean, people, are they going to turn around and call you crazy?
They might if they don't read the book. If they read the book, what they're going to discover is that I've put together an awful lot of facts and figures that indicate that maybe a skeptical position on climate is not a bad idea at the moment when we still don't really have anything even close to like the amount of evidence that we really require to make a definitive decision on whether or not we're heading toward uncontrolled global warming or whether we're just in a natural warming cycle that's eventually going to cool. Right now we're in a cooling cycle. The planet has actually been cooling for the last few years, something that most people don't know because they're not going to tell you, because they don't want to tell you. So I think we need a little bit more information before we make the big billion-dollar decisions about what we're going to do with our economy, carbon, and so on over the next few years, because we'll be living with those decisions.
Well, we'll wait with interest to see how the climatologist community responds to your book.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it.